Ladies and gentlemen, we are now live in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the only platform where all wrestling matters, where we had not one, not two, not but three historical moments with the man beast, the war machine Rhino, this guy Savio Vega, who some would say was responsible for the career of Stone Cold Steve Austin, and this little guy named Doug Pinnick, who's not so little, and as a matter of fact, he literally just played in the Dominican Republic opening for the one and only Tool, and he only played at Woodstock and opened up for AC/DC and Pearl Jam at the height of their careers. And now we have on a man who looks to join those legends here of Sportswire Radio because he is on the cusp of creating the greatest wrestling super show in history with the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. In fact, he's on the cusp of so many great things. He's actually, it looks like he's maybe working on something now. Maybe he's got an announcement or two. Who knows? We're going to run down the card. I've got a list of people that certainly want their say and want their opportunity in it. I'm going to certainly bring that up. We're going to talk about this new partnership between TPW and the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, a.k.a. Promo Wrestling, Texas Promo Wrestling. That's going to, I'm sure, change the game and break the fourth wall as we know it. And maybe I'll even get into what on earth is going on in VTW. We have a new champion, and, well, DBW is right around the corner, and maybe our guest has got some unfinished business. Ladies and gentlemen, boy, I'm excited about this one, and I'm so excited about this one that I ran home to get here on time because I didn't think I'd make it, but I'm here. But since we are now on the cusp of the man that always breaks the internet every time he is here, and he gave us a taste of what's ahead last night on Sportswire Radio, it is now time to give him that introduction because you want it in the chat. He most certainly wants it. Janie might even want it. And, well, I want it because I'm on my second big gulp, and it means it's time to get the show on the road here in style on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all wrestling matters. So let's get to it. So with without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one global sports show. A man that looks to make history as he looks to create the greatest wrestling super show in underground, backyard, and independent wrestling history. A man that's done it all in places like DBW, VTW. For now, he may still be a Bitcoin billionaire, but once he gets married, he'll probably drop down to being a Bitcoin millionaire. His name is simply put, my friend, how are we doing?
Man, I gotta say, you did not go once, but you went not twice, but three times on that Wakefield.
Yeah, I figured, you know what? Let me hold the note a little while longer for it. I rushed all the way from the friendly confines of Brooklyn, Kings County to Richmond County, Staten Island, where we are here in the Sportswire Radio studios. And I'm like, you know what? I ran for it. I'm going big, or, well, I'm just going to go off the air or just, have a dud of a show. But, yeah, I wanted to stretch the envelope there a little bit. We did that. We always have to do it. And I keep telling everybody, Chase, that I have more pressure to do that intro more than ever because Rhino liked it, Savio Vega liked it, And Doug Pinnock, who just opened up for Tool literally minutes ago, he seemed to like it, and he gave me advice on the introduction. So I gotta go home or go big. That's pretty much how it goes.
Man, what a list of guys you just named off there for 2025 already. I mean, like, it's been crazy for Sportswire Radio, I'd
Yeah, we
say.
were supposed to have Vinny Appice of Black Sabbath. Well, he played for Ronnie James Dio, Black Sabbath, World War III. No, not the World War itself, but a band he played with, a guy, George Lynch. If you're a heavy metal fan, he was supposed to be the next Eddie Van Halen, and
Yeah.
he's had an okay career. Well, he'll come on, but just not this week. But yeah, it's been an interesting last 6 or 7 weeks. But I've got you here, and a lot of people I know will tune into this. And what's good, my man?
Oh man, other than being under the weather, I've been
What
doing
happened?
great.
How did you get sick, first of all?
Man, it's very rare that I do get sick. Like I'd say 3 times a year. But I think it was when I was traveling down to North Carolina last week. I think someone was sick, and it got me sick. So
Oh, yeah. I know you
I'm
told the
kind of dealing
story
with it.
yesterday, but I know we have a
Yeah.
different chat, so I figured let me, retell the story. Yeah, the Torrance Banks makes a good point. Who's here tomorrow? Weather change. Yeah, could be that.
Oh,
It's
that
it's
too.
it's like a yo-yo. Here in New York, it's cold, and by Monday it's supposed to be warm, and then maybe by Friday it'll be cold again. So it's just that time of year. But you are a busy man. We have a
Yeah.
lot to talk about. We have a lot of people that would like to get onto the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. I'm going to certainly run down some things with that. But I guess for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that you, Chase Wakefield, Janie, and the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio. Let's talk about first about the announcement of this partnership that you have with TPW. Obviously, I've been talking about it with some of the guys in the TPW locker room. Chris Cowabunga was here yesterday, and the Tonight Show with Sportswire Radio. AJ Storm, I spoke about it with him. Some of the other guys, Devin Adams. You probably know Devin from the backyard and the underground wrestling circuit. Nathaniel Rage. I got their thoughts on it. But talk about this partnership, how it all came about, and how it's going to change the game.
Oh man, this partnership that we have going on with TPW, my main goal in having these guys come on is to give them a platform that they originally usually can't get because they're promo artists and a lot of like independent or underground shows don't view them as the same, but in all
Right.
reality, they work just as hard, if not even harder, than a lot of the guys on the scene. And I feel like with this show, it's a perfect opportunity to give two very lucky and very deserving people that opportunity to really shine and showcase their talents.
No, I agree about that. I've obviously had a lot of promo wrestlers on here over the past, I'd say 4 or 5 months. And it is very important to be able to communicate and to talk to who your audience is. And there's some really good promo artists out there. Or promo wrestlers is the better term. And I think that giving them the opportunity, it's going to certainly motivate them, but only two. I mean, that's a lot of pressure with you and Rocky having a, pick just two. That's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of guys in TPW. I mean, that's a lot of pressure there, sir.
Me and Rocky were talking, and I was like, "Listen, give me a two best guys on your roster." And I said, and he told me that that's gonna be a really difficult challenge because of
Very
how
difficult. He got a big
talented everyone
roster. He's
is.
got a big roster.
But I feel like once people see these two best people go at it, whoever it may be, I feel like they're gonna garner an audience they have not had the opportunity of getting, and it really puts pressure on a lot of the guys too, especially not only vying a spot at the top of their company, but also getting a opportunity at this specific event to really showcase their talents in front of a bunch of new eyes, people who may not know what promo wrestling is. And it's funny because a couple years ago, I actually was in a promo wrestling federation myself.
You were?
I can't quite remember the name, but it was It's been so long. I'd say it's like about 8 or 9 years ago.
Oh, okay. That's
I was
before
on it.
TPW and some of these
Yeah.
guys like even Devin and Steele were in it. Sure, sure.
Yeah, I was a part of a promo wrestling league as well, and a lot of people could really benefit from actually being in a promo wrestling league because not
Yeah.
only they can improve on their talking, they can get a new audience, new fan base, and when they apply the skills that they had in those promo wrestling videos, they they're going to be golden at some point
Yeah.
when it comes to the talking aspect. And I
Yeah,
always
there's a guy
believed,
in the UK. I've been telling the story here and there. Chris Brooker, who hosted For the Love of Wrestling, which is this big convention where a lot of the veterans come and they ask questions, and it's basically probably the most anticipated event for anybody in the UK to go to. And what he was doing during COVID, it wasn't quite promo wrestling, but what he was actually hosting via Zoom was promo classes. There'd be a bunch of different guys, whether it was Rick Marcus, Andre Decker, it was Reese and Rogan. It was R.P. Davis, the Natural Born Fire. Those were some of the list of names, and he would go out there and basically what you'd see, on Tough Enough or the new show is it, LFG, whatever it is, and they would just go out there and say, "All right, show me what you got. Show me what you can talk about." And they would just go back and forth on. And I think that promo wrestling is a very important art because if you can't sell and can't communicate, well, I don't know what's going on.
yeah, exactly. And I always believed that promos in itself was kind of became a lost art. And with TPW, I'm hoping to really put a shine in the whole promo aspect. And really, this show is more or less going to be like an all wrestling matters like super show
You
essentially.
can't have all wrestling matters without promo wrestling. I think that
Exactly.
there's no question, and I'm glad that you and I see eye to eye on this because I have gotten a lot of promo wrestlers come on here and they can talk. I mean, there's some really good ones, obviously the TPW champion, Nathaniel Rage. And I think about guys that have come on here. AJ Storm, I mentioned, some up and comers, Chris Cowabunga, Remy Roberts has become a favorite here on the platform, Max Michaels, my old friend Dante O'Cara. You've seen him here
Yeah.
on Sportswire. He was a wrestler in the UK and won a title, won a minor title, had a little bit of success in the Indies, lives here in America. And I think that there's a wide range of different people that are in promo wrestling. I mean, I think that it makes sense to me. Anthony Steele, yeah, him. He's returned to promo wrestling. I mean, I think there's a lot that promo wrestling brings to the table, and I definitely don't sleep on it. And we've got the announcement here from the TPW page. We'll read it off. The Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational and TPW are excited to announce a partnership between the two entities for the show later this year. We believe that promos in professional wrestling are a lost art. I agree. And the guys over at TPW are perfecting that lost art every day. So I'm excited and honored. He put the honored as in the UK style, which is going to certainly get him some bonus points with the UK guys, to announce that we will be doing a special showcase with TPW. They will be pairing their two best promo artists. And no, it's at the moment not Anthony Steele. And they will go out to see who is the best. The promo battle will be aired on the main show. And for the hype promos, you can follow TPW on Instagram, Texas_promo_wrestling. And we are beyond stoked to make this the biggest show on YouTube with all walks of this community. And with this partnership, I believe this will most definitely be accomplished. Signed, I put the signed in there, Chase Wakefield. Pretty big words, great work, and I'm looking forward to seeing who eventually becomes those two people.
Oh yeah, I'm definitely curious myself because I don't know who it's gonna be. I'm curious to see who Rocky appoints to be in these
Well, the
two, and
champion's Nathaniel Rage. So on paper, Nathaniel Rage would have the edge. He would have the edge over everybody. He is just, I mean, this guy's on a whole nother level. I mean, he would be one guy to keep an eye on if I were to, be a betting man. I mean, I do think people will say it's nepotism if like Devin Adams and Anthony Steele are like the final two names, but I think Nathaniel Rage is going to be one of those names. He's the name that I would keep an eye on because he's their champion, obviously.
yeah. I can definitely agree that Nathaniel Rage has been putting in the work. I would definitely love to see Nathaniel Rage maybe be the one of the participants, but you may not. Who
Yeah,
knows?
we don't know. Obviously, we have months to decide. I
Yeah.
just, it's not my call, but I mean, I've seen him here. He's actually, I don't know if you know this, Mr. Wakefield. We had a promo match. We had a singles
Oh.
match between AJ Storm and Zach Clark. Zach Clark lives not that far from me. Then we had a tag promo match, which was the first official promo match on Sportswire Radio a few days prior. We had Nathaniel Rage and Devin Adams took on Killshot and Zach Clark. That was obviously an interesting promo battle, to say the least. And Nathaniel won that, and AJ Storm won his against Zach Clark going away. So I think that there's going to be more promo wrestling you see on Sportswire, and I think it's great. I'm really excited. I tell you what, I've gotten to know a lot of the guys here in the promo wrestling world, and I'm glad I'm here and not there.
I mean, you could be showing up. I
Nah,
hope you do.
I'm not promo wrestling. Promo wrestling, I'm gonna let the professionals go out and compete with that. But all right, so we'll take this off the screen for now. We'll run through some of the other matches, and we'll run down the card and everything else. I do want to say hello to some people. Yoshi Matsuda, who's here Sunday night 9 o'clock, was in the house. Ace Reed. I'm sure I'll get to Ace in a little while. Torrance Banks, who's here at 8 tomorrow. We're about a half hour earlier with Torrance because, well, it's a Saturday night. He's got a lot to say. My buddy, the Tribal Cheese, who
Oh
maybe
yes.
he's your announcement. He's got 10,000 plus followers on TikTok. He would be a good one. Actually, he's upwards to 12,000 now. But he's in the UK. He's up at almost 2 o'clock in the morning. I don't know why, but I'm glad he is because we love the Tribal Cheese on here. And this crazy guy here who must be a fan of yours. Don't even acknowledge this guy's a fan. Just leave him alone. Chase Sleeper,
Okay.
yeah. Leave. You don't even. These fans. He was the. In fact, this is the guy that Ox McCoy and Omen Black had problems with at the IMF show. You saw that video. Ace Christian was there. That crazy
Gotcha.
fan. Yeah, this is that crazy fan. So we'll leave that. We don't want any crazy fans here. But let's talk about the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitation. I'm going to put the Instagram page up. Let's talk about some of the matches. We'll run them down here formally because I know people are going to come here in and out. So let's talk about the match that you most recently announced. And no, it's not Austin James. I glanced over that. Well, we'll get to him next. You thought that was funny, I know. But Jacob Ryan and Yankee TDM. This is an intriguing match, and let's talk about it.
Oh man, these two, they've had very similar history when it comes to the independents, but in different
Absolutely.
spectrums. Uh, Yankee, who has been on GTS, a
Yep.
very actually a very a regular in GTS.
Yeah, I think Yankee and I are friends on Facebook. I think almost certainly
I
friends on Facebook.
I've known Yankee for
For a
about
while, right?
6 years now.
He's been
And
around a while. He's been around a
he,
while.
I've met him New York, Pennsylvania, Maryland. Everywhere I go, he always seems to be there, and he's always a great guy to talk to. And as for Jacob, as I
Jacob's
met him.
big. Jacob is just just a beast, all around beast.
Oh yes, and he's definitely a guy that I've over the past 2 years or so knowing him, he's become a really great friend of mine. And
DBW, VTW has become a
yes,
huge factor in DBW this past year. Absolutely.
and these two, I'm surprised is a first time ever match because you'd be surprised why haven't they faced it all yet? And I feel like with the Wakefield Invitational, I feel like this is the best time to have these two monsters clash at it, and it's just gonna be a bunch of meat slapping meat, I'd say.
I think the guy that's the fan from the IMF show, that's certainly right up his alley because when he hears winks and a nod references like that, that certainly, let's just say, gets him in the mood. Let's just put it that way. But I'm surprised that these guys haven't crossed paths before. I
I
was
know.
almost sure that they were in a locker room together. They didn't have a match. I just find that
They
interesting.
have been in the same locker room together, but
Yeah, that's
they've
what I
never
thought.
been one on one. They've never been one on one, which is very surprising, and I'm very honored to showcase this as a first time ever match.
That's exciting, and again, I almost don't even know who I'd bet in this match because of the experience, the strength that these men have, and yeah, that's
That's kind of the trend when it comes to a lot of these matches. You just don't truly know who to pick when it comes to who's going to win.
Well, that's why it's your wedding invitational, not
Yeah.
mine, because I'd have to answer to everybody on Sportswire the next day, and I'd have to answer with somebody and said, "Well, you favored somebody more than someone else," and blah 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 blah. So I'm glad that I'm not in that position. But let's take this off and go to the match that I glanced over with Austin James, but Austin James had plenty else to say, and he's wrestling a man that I got to be honest. This is I think a sleeper match. I mean, they're all great matches. They all could be main event matches, but I really think having Austin here on Monday's show, I think he's going to be as close in a long time he is to 100%. I think what he said, at least in DBW, he's primed and poised for a very big year. He's going to give certainly Silas Walker, your frenemy, you might want to put it kindly, a lot of problems coming up here at Unfinished Business. And this is going to be one of those matches that it could be a match of the year candidate. And yet it's just one of a bunch of them here at the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. And I mean, talk about D-Lock and Austin James, just
Oh,
a banger here.
oh man, I would classify these two men as some of the most hard-hitting men that I know. There's probably one other guy that hits as hard, and his name is Dustin Reagan, which D-Lock actually learned from Dustin
Oh, wow.
years and years ago. They used to be a tag team called Killer Instinct, and yeah, it's just one of those things where I'm like, okay, I have Austin James and I have D-Lock on this card, and then it made me think, why don't I put these two together and let them just beat the crap out of each other? Because what that's what I'm hoping will happen. I want to see at least 20 chops from both of these men, because these two have the most hardest chops in this business. The type of chops that make you bleed. That's how hard they hit. And I feel like these two are going to absolutely kill it. And it's definitely been a dream match of mine seeing these two go at it for a few years now, ever since I met Austin James, because I've known D-Lock a little longer. And
Yeah.
once I met Austin James, I saw his wrestling style, and I'm like, man, this is
And
basically.
Rad loves him, by the way. Rad
Oh,
loves
yeah.
Austin James. I
He's
mean,
such a great guy.
yep.
But when I think about Austin James, I think it's DBW's version of D-Lock. And when
Yeah,
it
I could
comes
see that a
to
little bit. I could see that a little bit.
you can
Yeah.
even tell from the promo here, they both have finger guns too. So that wasn't. I promise it wasn't intentional. It just was a little funny.
You know what? For whatever reason, I thought it was. I was like, okay, somebody's throwing an Easter egg here to show us something in the
It
Battle
was
of
not on
D-Lock.
purpose. I'll say that. It was just a funny little coincidence. But no, I think these two are gonna have a match of the year quality match. But there's a lot of matches on this card that are match of the year candidates, I'd say.
But this is one of them that's it kind of is a sleeper because there's so
Yeah.
many. I mean, you got so many names on here, but yet this is one that maybe you look at it at first, and then you have to think about it and say, you know what? Yeah, that's a match that I would say could be a match of the year candidate. You know, anywhere else, it's the match on the card, but on this one, there's like 6 of these matches that are
And
all
and
going to
I
be
think
like that.
these I think these two men are going in thinking the exact same thing, where they could be easily overshadowed by a lot of the other matches, so they need to go out there and prove why
And
they
it's
got
funny
their
you
top.
said that because Austin talked about even an ego and just on a DBW point that as a group that they're looking to stand on their own, and I think he's looking to stand on his own. And I think that this is an opportunity on a big stage. He's already been in GTS. You know, we've obviously seen what he's done in EBW and EBW Pro, but this is now potentially an opportunity to be in an even bigger audience and to do it in front of so many people for the first time that are going to see him live and certainly maybe even see him watching for the first time when this airs on YouTube. So this is, I think both guys have something to prove here and some.
I definitely agree to that 100%. I think this match is nothing more than just these two proving why they're the best for a reason, and they're going to go out there 100% on the will of stealing the show. and I absolutely can't wait to see them steal the show, or at least try to.
I think they're going to certainly try, and we are here with Chase Wakefield, who is the Bitcoin billionaire, at least for now, in terms of his worth. And we're talking the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational Show, which will take place certainly coming up this summer at some point. And it's, as far as we know, the first wrestling super show at a wedding. And it's certainly one that we'll remember for a long time. And we're talking about some of the matches here. So obviously, speaking of ego, obviously Colin Graves is that other point. Zach Daniels. We spoke about this quite a bit, and two men that have a lot to prove. And again, another match with two guys, look very similar, wrestle a little slightly different, but still a match that's going to be another hard hitter.
It definitely will be a hard hitter. I feel like Colin Graves has been on a uphill climb to the top.
It's close to the DBW World Championship.
He was close to the championship, and as for Zach Daniels, he was on the top of the mountain
Yep.
for a long time, being the VTW World Champion. He's had banger matches with the likes of Ace Christian, Aaron Jones. Um, and if you look at it, it's definitely a clash of styles that really mix with each other.
Yeah.
They're definitely very similar, and it's definitely a match that you would not see anywhere except for the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational.
Yeah, it's exciting. I know we spoke about this the last time you came on here several weeks ago, but I kind of feel like these guys, they're going to, in terms of what they do here in the ring, they're going to leave it all out there. They're going to lay it all on the line. And whoever wins here is going to have, I kind of feel like maybe some momentum to go into whatever will be for them in the rest of the year. Maybe even the tables are set for them going into this match. But I think that whoever wins, they're going to use this as a springboard to maybe in Zach's case, well, we don't know what'll happen these next few months, but maybe get him back to the VTW championship. And Colin Graves is obviously right there, and certainly he'll be watching closely what happens with Havoc and Castelli, but Colin's a guy that could be looking for singles gold, and this is a match that could certainly propel these guys into whatever their futures might be.
I could definitely agree, and with the way that Zach Daniels has been projected to in VTW, he kind of is out for blood at this point. He has this new attitude ever since unmasking himself as Merrick. Um, I think this new Zach Daniels is one that should not be taken lightly at all. Um, as for Colin Graves, too, Colin Graves had shown himself with Brandon Castelli that he should not be taken lightly either.
Not at all. Not at all. I mean,
I believe that these two definitely. I think ego when it comes to Austin James and Colin Graves. I think this is a very important step for them to not
yeah.
only bring ego more wins and but to further their singles career and really showcase that they are singles competitors, and
Yeah,
they
we
should be
spoke
not
about
taken
that
lightly.
with Austin yesterday, that the group, well, Monday rather. We talked about it yesterday with you, but we spoke about it on Monday's show. And I think it's an important year for the group as a whole. We know Roland is obviously challenging Brandon again. We know what those two did to each other for the World Extreme Championship. Austin now has unfinished business with Silas Walker. Where does that leave Colin Graves? But I think individually, as a group, all three of them, and especially since Colin and Austin are on the card with singles matches and singles competition, it's a very important year for the group. I don't want to say it's make or break. They're always going to be ego, but in terms of their success, this is a very important year, and I think we're going to look back and maybe it's this match or maybe it's an unfinished business as examples that's going to set the tone from as a group. Where do all three of them go?
Yeah, I could definitely agree to that. It's definitely a part of their chapter that they need to write and finish up and really prove to all the doubters that a lot of them say, oh, they're just a tag team. They aren't meant to be for singles competition. And I think, especially with unfinished business and this show, I think this will definitely prove the doubters wrong.
No question about that. And I would even add to that. Listen, they weren't they tag team champions for 500 plus days over a year. So yeah, they had a reason why maybe they weren't going after singles gold. What they did in DBW in the tag team division, we're going to look back a long time from now and just say that was history in the making. But definitely another match that we're excited about. And
Before
obviously,
we
yeah,
continue on with the next advertised match, I do want to talk to a
yeah.
match that that
Yes,
I
sir.
don't have up on the Instagram yet because I gotta get with my graphics designer. But
Okay.
because it more or less goes into an announcement I'm gonna do,
All right.
and it's D'Angelo LaFlame versus Aaron Blaze.
Well, that's a match we spoke about here. Aaron was here and we spoke
Yes.
about it with him. And I had LaFlame here a few weeks ago for a cameo. He was here. Yes, he's alive, but we certainly had D'Angelo, who promised to be back on Sportswire, which was exciting to see. And he hadn't been here in months. And Aaron Blaze is certainly the headline, and he's the farthest traveler in history in the underground circuit. And he looks to travel more places. I'll leave that to him and the companies he's going to show up with. But let's talk about what's your thoughts on this. As I see Mr. LaFlame has say his name, he
Oh
appears.
yes,
He's
he's
arrived.
here.
He's
Um,
arrived.
so this match not is from what I know a dream match for a lot of people. I wasn't
Yeah, I
aware of
think
the history.
who was the traveler that has traveled the most? I mean, you think about the last year, right? Who traveled more than LaFlame or Blaze? I think it's a close call.
Yeah, and these two definitely are. I'd say this is the dark horse of the show right here because there's a lot of eyes that don't know much about either or, especially around this community. So I think it's gonna be
Yeah.
a great introduction to
Yeah,
both of the people.
I think certainly Aaron Blaze is a name that you've seen him in some places. I think that some people would say that Aaron Blaze has had a lot of success, but in places that maybe not as many people know. But certainly he did a great job in ROEW, had a wonderful match with Jack Delta, wrestled at the time C Money. So I think that there's definitely potential for Aaron Blaze wherever he decides to go. And D'Angelo the Flame, obviously was the flame that was, almost burning brightest or shining brightest when it came to last year. You saw him in Summer Bash, you saw him in the Riot in the Ring, and he was just getting started. Shocky's house party, and then he dealt with some injuries. We saw him defend the All Wrestling Matters Championship, which he lost to Soldier GP, which originally that was going to be on the line here, but Soldier won the title from D'Angelo. I think D'Angelo is also training as we speak a little bit to go pro. So I think it'll be different to see what those two styles sort of that they bring to the table. But yeah, I think that both guys have something to prove for different reasons. I think this year. I think Blaze is again a name that I think a lot of backyard wrestling fans know. I think the backyard community knows, but maybe the underground independent guys may not know as well. And LaFlame was there. I think LaFlame was on the cusp of some really big things, and he kind of unfortunately had to deal with some injuries. So we'll see how he adjusts to those, some of them.
Yeah, I'm really excited for it, but this match is not only a dream match, but I figured why not make the stakes a little higher, I would say. And
I like how you
so
said that stakes higher. We think about flame and blaze,
yeah,
right? And it blaze and
no
flame. I
no
mean, you think,
pun
well, how
intended.
much higher? Do you want to burn the show? I mean, is that what you're trying to do? I mean, that's not a good idea, though.
So I did some pondering, and I think, especially with these two who have been all over, all these companies have been all
Absolutely.
over the country. I think that this match needs more than just the dream match aspect, and I think
Okay.
that it will be D'Angelo LaFlame versus Aaron Blaze for Chase Wakefield's Medal of Honor.
Whoa! The Medal of Honor. Wow.
So the
Chase
Medal of
Wakefield
Honor
Medal
is
of Honor. Whoa, tell us about it.
yes, so it's going to be a custom medal. Um, and I told both of the guys that whoever wins this can either keep it as a memento or can actually defend it in other companies.
Mm,
So whether
that's
it
pretty
be
cool.
whether it be D'Angelo Flame or Aaron Blaze, they can choose to defend it wherever they want, or they could just keep it as a little memento, like keep
Wow.
it safe.
I would
But
almost think you should defend it. I would think that
it's up to them.
that's true. I mean, I'm sure we'll get both guys on here to talk about it in the coming weeks. I think Aaron, I owe an appearance to, and LaFlame, when he's ready, I think when he's ready, he'll be here, and that's going to be a very anticipated show, undoubtedly. But that's really cool that they get a chance to win something and potentially keep or defend. That's kind of cool.
And that's the main reason why I don't have the graphic right now. Is because I gotta add the little snippet there saying it's for the Medal of Honor, and I think whoever wins this Medal of Honor will carry it gracefully and really make me proud for whatever they do with it.
Yeah, and I think that these are two guys that I think haven't crossed paths. I'm almost pretty sure they haven't crossed paths in a company. I think that they're traveling. Well, Aaron's probably traveled more years. LaFlame might have traveled more miles just last year. Now, this year is obviously a different ballgame, but I think that these guys, in terms of what they've tried to represent in the BYW underground community, a lot of people do want to see. This is a match that's, heavily anticipated, at least here on this platform. I think a lot of people want to see what those two guys could do in a ring. I think Aaron, again, we've seen him, wrestle the likes of Jack Delta. We've seen him wrestle the likes of C Money, Jacob Collins, and ROEW. We've seen him wrestle guys in other places, but I think that this here is going to be a big test for him. And conversely, D'Angelo, has dealt with some injuries. He wrestled Soldier, wasn't the outcome he hoped for. So he is looking to get back onto the winning track, and this is something huge to compete for.
I could definitely agree with that, and I think there's a lot to be proven for the both of these guys.
Yeah.
Who is the bigger flame, or who can set?
Now, you sure you don't want to burn your own
ablaze?
wedding because you have a blaze versus a flame? So I mean, I'm just. I hope that Janie understands that you might be trying to burn down the wedding. I mean,
Listen,
I
I'll
hope
have fire extinguishers at the ready. Maybe I'll put Justin Horsley on fire extinguisher duty.
I now wait a minute. Now I see what you did there. Now you have a use for Justin Parsley. Now the use for Justin Parsley is that he will be on duty to burn or help burn, engulf the flames there. I see there. Interesting.
Not to say anything
So
specific.
hopefully then he'll have gone to a fire safety class to have learned what to do in case that Aaron Blaze and D'Angelo Flame attempt to, with their wrestling match and their wrestling abilities, burn down the house or burn down the wedding.
He just needs to learn the pass method, and it's all good. Pull, aim, squeeze, sweep.
And I do say hello to Comatose. I'm going to give Comatose a big plug because Comatose, I really I can't believe what happened to his YouTube page. We'll do that in a few minutes. But speaking of people that I know you have plenty of feelings on, which I want to pull my next poster up here for. And I do want to say hello to everybody out here tuning in and out. I want to say hello to D'Angelo, and it'll be good to have D'Angelo back on Sportswire. But in the meantime, a man that has become one of my favorites, a man that you don't like so much, Mr. Silas Walker, the DBW Global Champion. And I actually can see Silas making that face while reading his latest wrestling book he's picked up from somewhere. And the DBW Champion, Brandon Castelli, and, of course, the mystery man we don't know, and certainly the Dawn's March against, Nikki Chooch, who I think, for my money, is one of my favorites right now in the underground and the indies. And Andrew Lovelace. Andrew's been here many times. The be-all, end-all, obviously thoughts and prayers to his mother. And another guy that's always, I think, eluded me into coming on the platform, and that's kind of my own fault because we're supposed to do this once before, Mr. D'Lo Smith. And who are you going to call? I mean, who are you going to have to pick in this particular match?
Man, honestly, there's a lot of choices, especially with the comment section always having someone saying, "Hey, where's my invite?" Like.
We're gonna get to them. I have a bunch of them here. I have Comatose, Torrance Banks. I know Shockey's, dialed in. I had Mickey Vargas last year, so we'll get to those people in a little while. But it's for you going to be difficult with this match.
It is. I need to find the right person to really fill in the spot that the Don's March needs in all reality. Um,
Hmm.
and as for the other team of D'Lo, Chooch, and Loveless, man, what a
I would say,
ragtag
like,
team.
character-wise, these are, like, the most unique personalities. Loveless is, the DJ Dirty White Boy. He's, teamed with Max Hammer and Wrestling Express. And you got Nikki, who, I mean, Nikki's Nikki. And you got D'Lo. I mean, these guys are like, can these guys get in a word into each other?
It's if you have these three men in the same room, the whole room's gonna be filled with charisma, and
Yeah.
that's kind of
Yeah.
what I was really looking for when it comes to a team suitable. I know they may not have all met or have teamed up in the past, but I feel
Yeah.
like with all these guys' creative vision and wrestling IQ, I think just they're gonna cohort like be a unit, and
Can,
I hope they do become a unit because they're gonna need it when it comes
now,
to the
I
Dawn's
would like
March.
to make I would like to make a, let's just say, choice. I would like to make a suggestion. That's the better word. I'd like to make a suggestion for the Dawn's March, and I don't know the possibility of this, but what's your thoughts about Sneaky Pete potentially being the
Oh,
third man?
oh man. Oh, he kind of looks like I will say Sneaky Pete kind of looks a little familiar to Brandon Castelli.
I don't know. I mean, I would have to get my glasses out. I don't have glasses, winking and nod, but Sneaky Pete would be maybe, my suggestion.
I think if I had Sneaky Pete join this team, I think I might not have to be able to upload this onto YouTube with all the things that that man has said.
Well, I guess then that won't be the person, the mystery man, but we'll have to find out. But yeah, this is another match that's so intriguing. I've had Nikki on, and Nikki's truly a unique guy, and you got Andrew, who's been here a ton of times, and Silas is the workhorse, the measuring stick in DBW, a man you've got a lot of history with recently, and certainly in the past, being with the Dawn's March. And Brandon's the DBW champion. I mean, I just think this is going to be another, extremely exciting match to talk about and watch. And we've got also the Aaron Jones, your
Oh,
best friend, Open Invitational. Now, you're obviously not going to be being a part of this because you have a match which we'll talk about. Again, an historic match. But I wonder who decides to maybe pick their death, or maybe show up to their own funeral by answering the call for the Open Invitational from Aaron Jones.
so I had a ton of people wanting to be a part of this open challenge. I've gotten promos, I've gotten messages, I've gotten all kinds of stuff, and I actually found the guy that will be
Uh-oh.
facing Aaron Jones, and I'm not gonna reveal it here.
Yeah, we got plenty of time. Card subject to
It's
change.
it's gonna be a complete surprise for both Aaron
Mm.
Jones and for the audience. So when Aaron Jones steps in that ring for the wedding invitational, and when that person's music hits, he will know who it will be. It
I
is
would, by the way, I would love if it was the Barbarian because he was
oh,
in the ring with the Barbarian last year.
all I could say is this individual has been part of a community that is known to be legendary.
Oh, okay. All right. So that means, yeah, all right. I mean, I don't want to guess because I might get it, but I know exactly
An
what you were. Yeah.
iconic group of guys.
Yeah. Okay. I know what that implies. I'm not going to guess because I'm afraid I might get it, and I would rather not, but I
It's
definitely have a hunch of what that community was. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha.
it's gonna be a true shock, I'd say.
Well, I mean, Shocky Boy will be it. You said Shock. I don't quite. I mean, King Shock might be in the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational still, but I don't know if he's quite the opponent for Aaron Jones. But nevertheless, I mean, I'm excited to see it, and I love Aaron Jones. Love to see me some Aaron Jones. And Zachary Depew did say open challenge, you say, but I think he's got some unfinished business still with maybe even Ace Christian. So I don't, that
Oh,
won't be the case. That won't be the case. But I got to talk about obviously the match that, well, let's just say this is generational. You and Matt DeMorris. I've had people message me and they were like, wow, Matt DeMorris is going to be here. I won't say who, but I had at least like 3 or 4 people that messaged me about this. And you better be prepared for this. You're getting, as
Well,
I said to you last time, you're getting married and then you're wrestling one of your heroes. I mean, this is, you know,
yeah, I'm gonna start off on this, kind of breaking the fourth wall on how this all became
I think
reality.
I know how how it
So
led. Tell the audience.
the original idea for the main event was gonna be me and Dan Stofko,
Yes, Dan is another guy that's just, I mean, killing it right
and
now.
I was like, this is a great opportunity. But I also had guys like Eric and Naeem still available,
Yep.
so I was
Oh, and
thinking about
Eric,
just
oh, I love Eric. I mean,
I was thinking about just making that a singles match and then making that the main event. But then I saw Matt DeMorris post on its Instagram saying that it's coming back for one more run for 1 year only. Coming back to the yard, coming back to the indies, coming to the underground, going everywhere. So as soon as I saw that, I immediately went to my Instagram DMs. Me and him follow each other, and I messaged him the whole idea, and he absolutely loved it. He loved the whole wedding idea, and he was all for it. And I was like, holy crap! I'm actually going to be facing a guy I've been watching for over 10 years as a
a
kid.
legend, man. When you think about the GBYWN and what that meant, and he was at the epicenter of that, and now to you to have that opportunity to wrestle him on a show where you're getting married, nah, this isn't real, sir.
A lot of people call Matt DeMorris one of the greatest backyard wrestlers of all time.
I would
And
definitely agree with that. I think if you looked at the body of work and what he did in the GBYWN, I mean, Sick Rick mentioned him quite a bit when Sick's been here. I mean, so yeah, if you think about what that community meant, yeah, I would think in 25 years from now, whatever people will think about in backyard wrestling, I hope to be alive. But there's no question that we're going to be talking about Matt DeMorris and his legacy.
yeah, 100%. And there's a lot of people in this whole community that call themselves legends, who call themselves headliners, who call themselves trailblazers. But Matt DeMorris
Yeah.
is the legend,
He's
is
the
the
OG, yeah.
trailblazer, is
Yeah.
the pioneer. His moveset alone had inspired hundreds of independent wrestlers,
He
backyard
inspired, well, how about
wrestlers.
he inspired Osprey? That guy Osprey, who was in the GBYWN. I'm sure you
He
knew that.
inspired Osprey. He inspired Dijak.
Yep.
A lot of people, and he's wrestled in Shikara,
Yep.
GCW. He's been about everywhere, and the fact that I'm finally going to be basically reliving a full circle moment and facing someone that I initially started watching backyard wrestling for, it's just kind of a surreal moment, I would say. And I'm very I'm very excited. I'm honored to be able to actually step in the ring with this guy, let alone have a match with him. And I've been in the ring with some of the biggest names in backyard wrestling. I've been in the
Yep.
ring with Cage, who has garnered
Yep.
millions and millions of views. I've been in the ring with guys who have faced WWE legends, WCW legends.
Well, we mentioned Aaron Jones and Mr.
Yep,
Judgment. They only wrestled the Barbarian and
they wrestled the
some other WWE
Barbarian. Mr. Judgment's been in the class with Luke Gallows
Yep.
before, and it's very exciting to see where 2025 is going to end with my career. Because hell, I could just, after I'm done wrestling DeMorris, I did it. I completed everything I should have done in backyard wrestling and underground wrestling. But obviously that's not going to happen. But
Yeah, they always say when you want to quit, they suck you right back in. It's like the mob. They
yes.
always say you'll never leave, really. Everyone says, "Oh, I'll leave," and they won't.
And I'm just, at the end of the day, I'm excited, a little bit nervous, I'd say, but
Don't
nevertheless
be.
very
Listen,
excited.
listen. Don't just go out there it's like anything else. What I've learned with celebrities and big names, and I even use this, in my community work. Don't be nervous. Just go out there as if you're wrestling Silas Walker or going
Yeah.
out there wrestling Austin James. I mean, just go out and have a match. And he wouldn't want it, Matt. I don't know Matt super well, but he wouldn't want you to be nervous. He'd want you
Oh
to
yeah.
go out there and go out there and just wing it and just have a good time.
Oh yeah. That's definitely the goal. And my second goal for it is to have the best match I've ever had. So I think it's very
And getting
possible.
married at the same time. Boy,
And getting
no
married as
pressure,
well.
right? No
Yeah,
pressure.
exactly. And I'm just all around super excited for this main event and for everything else that's going to be
Oh my
happening on the
God.
show.
Yeah. And we're going to say hello to everybody here in a few minutes. I'm going to get to everybody. I want to plug some people. We're going to definitely do that here. And, I do have to talk about,
Uh,
obviously, speaking of legends, you got the stepdads and the bad sons and Rad. I spoke to Rad. I spoke to Rad last week, and we're waiting for Rad to come back on here. It's all depending on when when Gabe finally uploads Angel Santiago versus Rad Dad. But I think at some point in April, you're going to see Rad here himself. But it's good to see him and Papa Bear against the stepdads. And you got the VTW champion now and Tyler Aiken here. And we've spoke about this quite a bit. And another match that's a dream match.
I could definitely agree with that. I remember when I first met the Bad Sons, like in 2017,
Mm-hmm.
2018. They always talked about having that dream match with the stepdads,
Yeah.
and they stopped being a tag team for a while now. Tyler Aiken's the world champion, Static's the
Congratulations to
YouTube
Tyler. Yep.
champion, and they're finding some success in singles competition. But they always have said if they were to come back as a team, it was to only face the stepdads. And I'm very excited and I'm very glad that both of these teams have both agreed and this match can finally happen after all these years.
And there's a lot of similarities here. We're here with Chase Wakefield, of course, the man who intends to make history here by having the greatest wrestling super show in history, the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. And why? Because, well, he's getting married. He's going to have a big wrestling show here. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, all wrestling matters. But it's kind of similar because Rad, if you've looked at Rad the last, I don't know, year or two, he's done a lot more singles than tag. So in some ways, as crazy as this sounds, Chase, they're similar because both of these teams either don't team at all anymore or they don't team as much.
Yeah, I could definitely see that comparison, and it's gonna be really interesting seeing them both teamed up again after such a hiatus for both of these teams when it came to tag team wrestling. And
Yeah, yeah.
will both teams have that same connection that they once had, or will one team get the upper hand and will another team turn up the thermostat? Who
Or
knows?
I would even say maybe the Bad Sons are motivated because this is a match they've wanted for years. They don't
Yes.
tag as often. Papa Bear and Rad aren't probably as familiar with the guys. So it's a really an intriguing match because of just the different scenarios that come into play here. It's just another really exciting thing to watch, and I know Rad's going to be here and to talk about it. Also, congratulations again to Tyler Aiken on winning the VTW championship, a tremendous honor, and we really look forward to talking about this match more. And I'm going to forget about the Asher Christ and
Oh
D'Angelo the
yeah.
Flame for reasons. But here we go. And the man that, what got into him on his daddy's show, I don't know. But I watched him in Palo, Iowa, put on a hell of a show. All the guys loved him in the IMF. I was so great to see that all the DBW and the IMF guys now, are like all, friends. And I'm so happy that all happened finally. And credit to Thomas McEntee for wanting this to happen. And Ace did a hell of a job. And shout out to him. And now we get a chance to watch him here, despite what I saw on Wednesday in the Judgment Confessionals. But Drew Hood and Ace Christian, we've talked about this, but the
Oof.
only thing that's left is to watch these guys put on maybe the match of the night.
It could be match of the night, and the history that these two have, they were on the same shows together
Yep.
years and years ago, but they never truly stepped one on one. And if you take a look at Drew Hood, he is the Carolinas Wrestling
Yep.
Independent Wrestler of the Year
Yep.
for 2024. And then you see Ace, who is becoming one of the tri-state area's hottest
Yeah, Ace
talents.
was in New York, 3 or 4 months ago. He
Yep.
had the stint in the IMF. We've seen what he's done in Pennsylvania, seen what he's done certainly as the VTW champion. Yeah, I mean, Chase is certainly racking up those frequent flyer miles, undoubtedly.
He definitely has, and the growth that Ace has had is really impressive. He recently went to MCW to learn
Yep.
from Gabe Sapolsky,
Yep.
WWE ID guy. Um,
And
and
Gabe, for
as
those that don't know, was obviously involved with Ring of Honor and all of that
producer
stuff.
for WWE and
Yep.
all that. And as for Drew, he has been in the ring with Joe Hendry. He's been in the ring with Jackson Drake, who's a WWE ID
Yep.
prospect. He's been in the ring with a ton of really well-known North Carolina and Carolina's independent stores. Javon Evans, I believe,
Yep.
they were
I
at
heard
it.
of Javon. I've heard of Javon.
And I feel like for Ace, this is more or less a uh, way to prove himself that he has officially reached that level that he says he's on. And will he be able to take down DH and 4K? Who knows?
I think it's a
And
big test for him. I think that's a great point. I think that's a big test for Ace because
yes,
this is a guy that's done a lot, and I don't know what Ace's plans are in terms of, like, you talked about the WWE ID program, and Skrilla was here, and I know you definitely know who Skrilla is,
yep,
and that's a guy that today he just talked about JBL, and Road Dogg gives him advice, and then I had the Alpha Zoe who wrestled
yeah.
Alex Shelley like right before he went to WWE. So I have guys that are here that are like basically the definition of the WWE ID candidate. So Ace, this is a big match for him if that's the direction he wants to go. And I don't see at his age why not.
Definitely, why not? And I think once these two step in the ring and when more eyes start looking at this match, I think people are going to realize that Ace Christian is the next thing, and he's ready
No, I think he's
for the prime
arrived.
time.
Let me tell you, I think he's arrived because I think if you looked at what he's done in the last 6 months, and I'm not talking about what the character is in different places, but in terms of his ring work, look at what he's done the last 6 months. I think he's already arrived.
I could definitely see that case for argument, and I think all we have to do now is just wait and see what happens.
For sure, 100%. And obviously, again, it's a really, exciting match. And the first one that you announced is a man that I've actually gotten to know really well. And that's really because of you. And he said he watched the show that we talked about him on Sportswire Radio, Mr. Eric Black. And speaking of the Blacks, Raina Black is here Tuesday night, by the way. Raina's here Tuesday at 8, and I'm excited. 8:30. She's here 8:30, same time that you're here. I'm excited for Raina being here. Although I know she winked in a nod, watched Eric, who, by the way, now is running things in Enterprise and
Oh,
Amplified. So
yep,
maybe that's good for you. I don't know. Maybe it's a good thing for you. But
maybe.
you know, Dan Stofko, who you spoke about earlier, who was the man you wanted to wrestle. Well, instead, it's going to be him, Eric Black, and Naeem the Dream Brooks. Basically, this is the definition of a dream match, sir. Just the definition of it.
It's definitely a match that you would not normally see in the independents, and I think
No, no
this
way.
match itself will have enough independent flair to really attract a lot of people. And just these three guys, the history that they've had: Dan Stofko, PPW star. You got Eric Black, who is the world champion for Enterprise Amplified. You also got him being
Pro
on
Wrestling
GTS before.
XX. He comes now. He comes from the CZW dojo.
Yep.
I mean, he's really accomplished. I mean, Eric Black is very, very accomplished.
And then you got lastly, you got Naeem Brooks, who is a graduate of the Three Legacies
Yep.
Academy and been doing
3LW.
stadium shows. Been all over when it comes to that
And Dan
company.
Stovko, I always point out, was again, you always laugh when I bring it up, was a college baseball player. Went from
Yep.
being a baseball player, he wanted to be a professional baseball player, and he could have potentially played, probably, had a career in the minor leagues. But he was a college baseball player and decided that he was going to be a wrestler because, well, the baseball career wasn't going to pay the bills or whatever reason he spoke about here, and they're all so unique, all three of them. What Dan's done in 2 years. Dan's been in the game 2 years. That's it.
It's absolutely crazy because I met Dan at Fight for Akira 1,
Yeah,
and
last year. Last
he
year.
was, I think that was his first match on the indie scene, and seeing him and Brennick Selly and that triple threat that they had
Yep.
was, I saw the potential that Dan had, and ever since meeting him, he showed nothing but kindness. He's very humble, and he's definitely a guy that I would love to have, and I'm glad to have for this show.
Yeah, I really think this is a match. I mean, again, they all could be match of the nights. They all could be main events, but this is the one that, all three of these guys have a huge resume. They have, and I know Eric's coming to Sportswire, I think, in the next week or two. So I know he's going to be here to talk about Enterprise and Amplify, excuse me. And I'm going to talk to him about this match. I mean, we talked about it a little bit when he was here last month, but I know he's coming back here to talk about Enterprise and Amplify. So I'm going to get his perspective on that. So, I'm really excited. I mean, the card is just, I mean, you should just stop here. You don't need to have any more matches.
We could stop here, but we only have one more match left.
All right, but before because you're not going to
huge.
announce that match, obviously, tonight, but
Yes.
I gotta ask because there's a lot of guys. I got Comatose here, and shout out to Comatose. Torrance Banks was here. Vargas was here talking about this last week. Shocky's talked about this to me off the air and on the air when he's been here. There's been tons of guys that want in on this. So, I mean, you have really left yourself open for so much criticism because you got so many guys right now. All I ever do is plug your show, plug the Instagram, and they're like, "Yeah, I want to wrestle on it." And I mean, so
I can understand.
You're not gonna have everybody happy.
Well, I did think about that, and we are in the works for a second day. Some of the guys that I've talked to and are down for that you may be seeing on the second day. You got guys like Torrance Banks. You guys got King
Torrance
Shock.
is here tomorrow. I'm going to ask him about that for sure.
King Shock is another guy. You also got Gabe Sayers as well. A lot of the TF Crew guys are
Gabe I spoke
to
a few days ago. Yep. I spoke to Gabe
Jeff the Skywalker.
No, Jeff.
And Jason Storm.
Oh yeah, he and Jay. By the way, mention Jason Storm to James Taylor, and you might be in James Taylor's crosshairs.
You also got some of the guys like Omen Black.
Omen was here 2 days ago for his birthday, or 3 days ago was his birthday.
And I wanted to say this name last because it's kind of saving the best for last, essentially. But me and a specific individual were on a call for over 50 minutes, and we talked.
Is it Anthony Steele? Because that's
is Anthony Steele.
Because that's Anthony Steele. He don't get off the phone. I know Anthony Steele. He was here the other day. For the Tonight Show at Sportswire Radio. I don't know if anybody knows this. He was here, and he's like, "I'll be right back," and we ended the show because he never came back.
Oh my! But me and Anthony were at this point really good acquaintances, and he will be there.
Oh well, but you do. But wait. Anthony is a promo wrestler. Now, you do realize that you technically don't have to book Anthony because he could potentially be one of those two people from TPW to represent.
He could be, but I rather would see him in ring.
But you could actually save his spot for somebody because you'll cause yourself so many problems if Anthony's one of the two participants from TPW and then he's got a match. Oh my goodness, you're gonna have so much thrown at you saying, "Oh, it's nepotism this." So I mean, I'm just saying, you could save yourself a lot of trouble and just have Steele. Maybe he'll make it as one of the 2 participants in TPW.
Listen, I actually need him to be there, and not be a participant. I actually need him to be there in person for it. But nevertheless, I'm really excited to meet up and meet a lot of these guys who I've only talked to on social media and stuff.
Yeah, that's
And
exciting. And Aaron Blaze is here. Have you met Aaron in person? I
I
didn't
have
realize.
not yet. I have not.
Really, and you guys don't live that far from each other. That's fascinating to me. You haven't met him?
It's more or less just a scheduling thing, but I feel
Oh.
like me and him will definitely meet up
Because I feel
before the
like
wedding.
I felt like you would have crossed paths with him at least like in the street somewhere. I didn't.
No, we're close, but not that close.
Well, he's got a comment, and obviously he
Oh,
saw that Mr. LaFlame was here. Let me let him have the opportunity, and I'm going to bring him back on here before the end of the month. I will bring him back on. The sheep can talk all they want, but I am the shepherd to guide them. I'll walk the walk at the Wakefield wedding. You'll feel the vibe when I roll up and leave flame burned out in the moment. Sounds like a poet there rather than the headline there.
speaking poetry right now, and
Poetry in motion, it sounds like.
but nevertheless, whenever me and Aaron Blaze do meet, it's definitely gonna be. I'm definitely gonna take a photo just so everyone knows that we actually met. But when we do meet, it's gonna be revolutionary, I'd say,
I think it is. I think that to see all these
for a lot of
people,
reasons.
I think to see all these people here, you talk about the stepdad, you talk about Eric Black, you talk about certainly Matt DeMorris, you talk about even like Aaron Jones and certainly the Dawn's March and D'Angelo and Aaron and anybody else that may be here to put them all in a room. I think that that's really fascinating. I think that's the whole purpose to me of what wrestling should be about, collaboration. And I think it's going to be exciting. You even brought up names like Jason Storm, possibly. Jason Storm is a guy that's the ROEW champion who's certainly, a lightning rod on this platform. And to maybe even have him here, I think that's really exciting. And that just opened up other doors. You mentioned Torrance Banks and King Shock. Shockey had his own show this past year. We spoke a lot about that. Shockey's house party. All
Yes,
the
I
home
loved
guys.
it.
I'd love to see some of the home guys get mentioned here. I had Luke Draven here. We talked about it. Obviously, Shockey Boy has talked a lot about your thing to me on and off the air. Obviously, Banks is here tomorrow. He's going to talk about that. Vargas. See, all those guys in home get represented. Maybe some of the NEW guys. There's a lot of crossover with home and NEW. Jake Dvorak, Joe Starr, Joe Tyson Spade. You got also another guy in your area, D Savage, the NEW champion. That's another thing I'm going to throw out there, who's from your state and was supposed to wrestle Andrew Lovelace. Well, somebody got sick. won't say who, but they were supposed to have a match. The actual match was kind of born out of here. They were booked in the Indies, and somebody got sick and card subject to change. It happens, no harm, no foul. But I think that's exciting to see all these people in a room and such.
It's definitely going to be very interesting to see how a lot of these personalities match.
You
together.
realize you have to also make sure you have like the longest cake in terms of like ever. Like, I mean, that's the first thing. I'm sure Janie's like already planning. Like, well, how big is that cake going to be? I mean, I don't know what the measurements
she's
are.
all in charge of that stuff. My main thing that I'm in charge of is this whole show. And
wow,
speaking of I would like to also talk about some of the production as well. That's going to be going into this.
Talk whatever you want.
So for the show itself, we're going to be doing music videos, kind of like the old GBYWN days.
They just did them for We're Not Dead Yet. That's what they've done with them there.
So we're going to have music videos for each match. We're going to have like WWE-esque promo packages for all the matches. So there'll be a lot of promos also with promo wrestling. It'd be great to see. We're going to be having some cameos too from some people, some WWE legends, some
James
TNA
Taylor did
guys.
that one of his packages. I mean, do you want me to give you like their telephone numbers, Savio Vega and Rhino? Maybe they'll appear in it. I could.
We got. I could say one of the guys is Chris Van Vliet.
I think you mentioned Chris already on you. I think you did.
We'll be getting guys like Joe Hendry. He's going to make it a cameo.
His name appears.
for Ace and Drew, since Drew has history with
Yep.
them. It's great. But not only in that production aspect is going to be great, but the actual show itself, we will be renting out some Sony cameras. Around like
Wow.
the whole show will be in 4K.
Are you trying to
Um,
get me to pay for the wedding? Is that what you're trying to tell me? That I
listen,
need to break the bank?
I'll send you the information so you can wire it. But not only that, we're also going to be doing drones as well. We're going to be having some cool
Wow.
drone shots for it. A lot of
I
people
think you know it's
have never
funny. I
seen
think I
that.
saw a drone actually above me when I was in Bay Ridge in Brooklyn. Not this Friday, but last Friday. I think I did see a drone. It was like,
They're looking for
wow.
Heshi. They're looking for Heshi.
Well, Heshi was Friday night. It's Shabbos, so when you're Orthodox Jewish, you observe. So they weren't. They were looking for me, not Heshi in this case, because Heshi was at home, probably, with the lights off and observing. But yeah,
But
yeah, it's
nevertheless,
fascinating. Drones.
the goal is to not only make this one of the best wrestling events, but one of the best looking wrestling events as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Sony cameras. I mean,
Yes. I got in contact with a company that I'll be renting out to. There, I'll be telling whoever is using
Well,
the
I'm going to tell you the
cameras.
camera because actually, when I've done Heshi's show, which I'm going back to, he has his own show on a bunch of radio stations out there, and he has those kind of cameras, and I can tell you the setup, what he has. People think I've spent money on this. I really haven't spent that much compared to him. I think he spent like $10,000 or $20,000 on the
Yeah.
camera setup. So it's
I'm telling
pricey.
whoever is in charge of the cameras to be very careful because they're like $3,000 each.
Yeah,
So,
they're expensive. They're expensive.
but it's going to be one of the best looking shows as well as the best show around, and I can't wait for people to watch it later down the road. We will also be doing, I've been working on it, wrestler spotlights. So if you don't know who a specific guy on the card is, these wrestler spotlights will initially get you kind of tuned in and understand who these guys are and why you should either be cheering for them or booing for them.
Well, I could see that Aaron Blaze and D'Angelo LaFlame will be, let's just say, booing each other because he's got a comment, Mr. LaFlame, the real raw energy, in case you didn't know. Clever boy Aaron, I see what you did there, but I'll keep it simple. Your Blaze can't compare to my Flame, and your headline can't compare to my energy.
Liking it.
Well, we'll have to find out. And, if you want to follow the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational, you can do that on Instagram. And, I still, and no spot for Justin Parsley. All these names you mentioned, but Justin Parsley, not announced on the card. You mentioned names like Jason Storm. You mentioned Omen Black. You mentioned Anthony Steele. You mentioned Torrance Banks, King Shock, some of the home guys. But still no Justin Parsley seems like announced.
Like I said prior, I don't know if it was the last show or the previous show that we had.
The show prior to that, yeah.
The amount of messages, calls, Telegram messages, even my LinkedIn profile has been messaged by the one and only Justin Parsley.
That's right. He is on LinkedIn because we follow each other on LinkedIn. Yeah.
Asking me, hey, where's my match? And you've announced all these other guys. Why haven't you announced me? And I simply kind of got sick and tired of it. And
did you realize if you have Anthony there, not Justin, that's going to even make things worse because right now those two are enemies right now.
Yeah, just to rub salt in the wound for what Justin.
Oh, you're going to rub a lot of salt in the wound if Anthony's on the card, and let's say, well, James Taylor's not, and Justin Parsley isn't, because those two have, quite a history with Anthony Steele. You're asking for it.
I may be asking for it, but the fact of the matter is this: where if Justin was just patient, he would have had the match. But if
Justin and patient aren't really, they don't go in a sentence.
He basically has been harassing me at this point for it. So at this point, it's more or less a punishment. He can hold a camera if he wants to. He could.
Oh, he's good at that.
The drone.
He's good at that. He's good at spinning tunes. He's a DJ. He's good at hosting karaoke, by the way. He's good at hosting trivia, winking
he has a lot of great other talents that I could use, but there's only one thing I can also add on to this, and that's if Justin Parsley decides to take business to himself and do whatever he wants, there will be repercussions and there will be consequences for the actions.
Well,
So
speaking of people that are here that I would have to actually ask, why aren't they announced yet on the card? The Heartless Sheriff Colton Lee, which goes into my next segment. I want to talk DBW with you for a few minutes. And I mean, where's your unfinished business and maybe Colton Lee being booked on this?
I mean, there's a reason why we're working on a day two. That's
Okay.
it's to fill the gap for people I really want to be on the show, but necessarily didn't
Well,
have
if you
enough
don't book
space for.
Colton Lee, he actually might just try to kill you because he's a heartless sheriff now.
Back in the day, I used to be called the Unkillable, so I can handle someone like Colton Lee. I wrestled a guy last year in the Independents for IWL called Mal Havoc, and he was
Okay.
double the size of Colton Lee. He was like 500 pounds.
So he'd make the tribal cheese look skinny then, I say.
He was, I think he was billed at like 506.
So he's basically eating for both of us then.
Yeah, and he looks like his build weight too. It's quite
Wow.
insane.
I don't know if I've met anybody in real life 506 pounds.
I didn't expect him to move like how Mal Havoc did. He definitely did move, and it hurt.
I like to move it, move it. I like to move it, move it, move it. He definitely did that. Yeah, but
Oh yeah,
but maybe night two, Colton Lee. Maybe
maybe.
So
There's
what do you
still a
think though
lot to
about
work on.
DBW though coming back? DBW. It's been announced on social media. We're very close to DBW returning. And you've seen Austin was here. We spoke a lot with him about your old foe Silas Walker, the man you wrestled last in a DBW ring. Mr. Judgment's had his shows where you've seen
Yes.
different guys certainly go at it, and there's unfinished business between them. But like, what is the unfinished business for Chase Wakefield here coming up
Oof.
in DBW?
Honestly, that's a great question. I really don't have the answer for it because I truly
Make
don't
a DBW invitational show for Chase Wakefield or something like that.
Yeah, it's like the year I've had in 2024 was not very great, as you know.
No,
And
not at all.
it really made me think about, can I actually hang with a lot of these guys still in the DBW? Because a lot has changed and the whole landscape changes every single show. And I looked at myself and really questioned, is Chase Wakefield still able to not only win but compete with a lot of these guys? And I think if it's unfinished business, if it's whatever show comes next after that, I think it's a real I'd say a real point for me to show that to only the people that I've changed, because a lot of people still don't believe that I'm this.
You're
this
not even on the
good guy.
poster. You weren't even on the poster that they posted on the DBW Instagram page. You didn't post it. You're nothing with you.
Listen, I may not be on the poster, but I'm sure as hell gonna be there. Whether, I'll tell you this, they have great catering, so I could be at the catering for all as I know. The Brooklyn Prodigy's better halves make some amazing food, so
Oh, I'm sure of
I'll
that. Things a bit
I'll be
screwy
there
here.
regardless. But whether it's wrestling or eating eating one of them chimichangas that they had, or cornbread, I'll still be there. And whoever I may or may not face, whoever I go against, they're gonna be going against a new Wakefield. And I always say that's a new Wakefield. It has been a new Wakefield, but this year I'm going with a lot more aggression, a lot more intensity, and I don't think a lot of these people realize how intense and aggressive I can truly be.
But how do people take that seriously after the year you had last year? I mean, you didn't. I don't even think. Did you win a match last year?
I don't think so.
I don't think you won a single match in DBW.
A lot of it is last year for me. A lot of it was a learning lesson, I'd say, and I've gotten a lot more better. I've learned from guys like Dustin Reagan, who I've talked about
Yep.
previously. I've learned from guys like Aaron Jones. Um, and I think this year is definitely going to be a lot better than last year. Um, but actions speak a lot
It
louder
better
than
be, because
words.
you couldn't have had a worse year in your career. I mean,
I mean, I was up there with Big Tex at that point. I was having my own failure tour, and I think
but he
now
saw the light. He's a heartless sheriff now, and he's targeting Sammy Nothing, by the way. He wants Sammy Nothing.
maybe I need to do the same thing that Colton Lee has been doing.
Well,
Maybe
I
I
don't
need
want to
to see the
suggest you
light.
go to the dark side. I mean, because, Janie's watching, and she would not be happy about that.
Maybe I might need to resort to my old ways.
Well, I mean, listen, Mr. Walker said you were an embarrassment to the Dawn's March. You were an embarrassment to the group and to the history. And, he talked about you shouldn't even make it to your own wedding. I mean, that's how
Yeah,
Silas felt about you.
he did. He did say a lot of harmful words and he did a lot of shisty things in our match, and I can't make up excuses
We
for
spoke
oh
about
yeah, he
that
did
when you were here
this.
last month. Yeah, I mean, listen, look, but he won. The record books don't say it was screwy. It just says he won.
That is true, and it's definitely that match itself really opened up my eyes and really helped me change and be who I am in 2025. And I hope for Unfinished Business or whatever show I'm on for DBW.
Well, Unfinished
Uh,
Business is the first one for the season coming up. I mean,
apparently,
I
I
mean,
might not be there because I'm not on the card. I'm not
well,
on the
that's not
poster.
my decision. I mean, listen, I would love to see everybody have opportunities. That has nothing to do with me. I mean, I'm only reporting what was posted on the DBW Instagram page. Not
Yeah,
my decision. I would
but
love to see you wrestle. I
at the
want to
end
see
of the
everybody.
day, it's mostly I've learned from a lot from last year, and I can only improve on myself. And I hope this year is gonna be better for me when it comes to
I hope it.
DBW.
Well, it better be. You're getting married and you're putting on this super show. You have everybody out there. But in the world of DBW, yeah, I mean, you've got unfinished business, and the business might be that you need to start getting back on the winning track and get a W and be in the victory column. And
That's definitely the goal.
Darkron's a name, by the way, you got to add into the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational. I mean, that's a name I would love to see wrestle and compete
He's
out
been
there.
injured all this time. Now he's finally back, so I might have to.
Well, well, you mentioned Jason Storm, and he hates Jason Storm. Now I see all of a sudden the woodworks people come out. I think they're used to me being on later. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah,
The Flame and Blaze don't seem to like each other. That's what I've learned.
that's what I
Yes.
like to see.
Let's see by how much we'll see. People talked about my failure tour. Wakefield was on a worse one. Yeah, I mean,
It
it
was
was pretty.
definitely up there.
Come walk the path. There is always room for a partner. Well, you want to join with Colton Lee? He's giving you an
Ugh.
opportunity.
I've seen the things that Colin Lee's been doing, and like I said a little earlier, I might have to resort to my old ways, maybe.
But is the man Colton Lee to go with you on?
Perhaps he's a lot bigger, so I just might need someone bigger to help me out.
The Flame and Blaze don't like each other. That's what I've learned. They really don't like each other.
Ugh.
And dishing out head trauma. It's a blunt force head trauma. There you go there. Well, we'll have to see about that. Obviously, VTW is also a big thing. We have a new champion there, and you
Yep.
are in DBW. We'll see what happens there. I mean, is there anything else that you want to plug or talk about here over the whatever
Ugh.
time we have left?
I think honestly, there's not a lot left to cover. I'm working on a new shirt, and that'll be out soon on DBW's Bonfire.
Oh,
And
the DBW Bonfire stores literally got everything imaginable for merchandise. So you should have new merchandise. I need
yeah,
to buy new
it's in the
merchandise. I
works.
think I'm gonna buy some shirts. It's gonna be in the next month. I think it's time for me to update my wardrobe. I'm gonna
I
update my
definitely will
wardrobe.
have a design by then, so
All right, yeah, because I do
I'll
want to buy
definitely
some
link it.
more shirts. I want to at least get another DBW shirt or two. I want to get another RWW shirt. I want to get another YBW shirt, IMF shirt. I want to get some more merchandise. So I think next month is going to be when I get some more merchandise. I think that's going to be on my priority list. This month is like I'm like just not home often, but next month I'm going to be home, so it'll be time to buy some new merchandise. So I think I'm going to buy some merchandise. Maybe it'll help you with fund the wedding.
Yeah. Gotta buy like at least 3 or 4 shirts for me, and you
I
got it.
gotta, yeah, I actually do because I do need more merchandise. But yeah, I think, listen, DBW, I'm excited about DBW coming back. It's really great to see in terms of I think what DBW is going to do. I think DBW's products gotten better and better. I think it showed the last 6 or 7 months that we've talked about DBW here. Certainly the last quarter of the year, DBW really hit its stride. We have new tag champs, Zachary Depew. That's another guy that's on my list. I have to get on here. I mean, we've seen what Ace is doing. Brandon finally wins the big one. I love to see what he and Havoc will do. Austin and Silas is going to be interesting. I'm interested to see what Mr. Judgment does going forward. He
Oh
actually said he
yeah.
wanted to join. He said he wanted to join Ego, which is hell will freeze over before that
Oh
happens.
yeah.
I don't think they'll let him in Ego, but it's a different Mr. Judgment. I mean, I think that's curious. Sammy, nothing. I'm very curious to see what happens with him and Colton Lee. What'll go on there? Jay Luther. What about Jacob Cassidy? Where does Jacob Cassidy go from here?
There's a lot of talent that you just wonder where they're doing next in DBW.
Yeah,
It's
DBW. It's the roster's going to be, I think, even more deeper than last year's. And we said last year, oh, you can't get any more deeper than this, and wait until what they have to offer this year. And you got that. Then you got your wedding invitation, where you still have one more match to announce, one more match, and you're talking about a second night. The way you're going with people that want to be a part of this, you might have to have 3 nights.
oh, I I might get killed for that one.
Well, yeah. Well, then I might have to marry Janie because I might have to foot the bill. But we don't want that. You can marry Janie. I'll certainly see that to you. But I'm excited. This was definitely another episode where we ran the gauntlet. I think you'll have plenty to say next month for sure. I think Rad coming here. It'll be good to hear what Rad has to say a little closer to the wedding. He's got a lot to talk about from what he's working on. That'll be good. Aaron is going to be back here. D'Angelo is going to be back here. Something tells me that those two are going to be introducing themselves here. Darkron's here next Friday in your chair for his birthday. Torrance Banks is here tomorrow. So a lot of faces you saw. Justin Parsley, very quiet tonight. Maybe he got the hint that he's not going to be invited to the wedding. I don't know if that's a fact or not, but I mean, who knows? But we'll pass the baton to you now. And also, before I do anything, I got to plug Comatose because Comatose, if you haven't heard, unfortunately lost his YouTube channel, got stricken down for harassment. I have no idea how this even happened. One of the most bizarre things. But if you're just a fan of this platform or you just want to support somebody that he lost all his videos, his entire documentation of his history, including your interview with him. Your
Oh
interview
yeah.
with him is lost now permanently because somebody said that he harassed them and he doesn't know anything into why and how, but he has a new YouTube channel. He's trying to build back up. So let's try to help him out. 1 subscriber here, 2 subscriber there. Please help Comatose. That would certainly help us. And I'm sure Comatose will be back on here. We'll talk about it next week. BTW is returning as another company. Maybe names like RJS, who's traveled east, could be in that match announcement. Just saying. RJS, Navon McDonald,
Oh yeah.
very conspicuous in his absence of Navon McDonald. Just throwing that name out there. I mean, a guy RJS has wrestled. I mean, just saying. I mean, we know Jack Delta's off the list because, well, Jack Delta's still injured. So you got to pass on that one. But give Comatose, though, a sub on YouTube. I feel so bad for Comatose. He just got to 600 subscribers and then loses his YouTube
Lose it
channel.
all.
Just really, really, and he can't get it back. Just really like terrible stuff. But I'm going to pass the baton to you because Janie's probably waiting for you, and you have to make sure you stay on her good side because she's planning the wedding. And I'm going to give the floor to you. I'm going to put some closing thoughts here with you as well, and I'm going to put your Instagram page up. So take it away from us and fire away.
Well, I mean, we pretty much gone through everything. I know later in the year I'll be going to Iowa as well, going to the IMF. So
Yeah,
whoever
I
I'm
think
in
I
place
think
there.
IMF is going to be a place a lot of people are going to be paying attention to here. I tend to
Yes,
think.
100%. And I'm glad that all tensions were relieved between the two parties of DBW and IMF.
Couldn't
And
agree
it
more.
only adds more opportunity for both sides to either come to our neck of the woods or we come to their cornfields. Um, but
That
other
was funny
than
the way you put that.
other
Cornfield.
than that, I'm just really excited. It's been a little bit. We kind of broke our streak of being here once every month, but we've been
Well,
both
I think it was
busy,
on
so
me last week because I had Mickey Vargas, but I also was getting home late, which
yeah.
I think it was on me. I think was it. I
Nah,
think
it's
yeah.
all good. I mean, we have a lot going on, and I can't wait to see everything come together. And we'll be talking about this for years, I'd say.
Oh, listen, we're going to put the event in the Hall of Fame. I have no
Yeah,
doubt about that. I mean, you're going to go in the Hall of Fame like 19 times for this. I have no doubt about it. So, I mean, that way Justin Parsley won't be, in the record books for the most Hall of Fames. I mean, so I'm sure.
I gotta break that.
Yeah, well, Anthony
But
Steele has got his own idea to break it, but I'm sure you'll join him as well in breaking it. But
but
yeah,
in
I'm
that, I
excited.
got a new shirt on the way, and that's basically it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I really am looking forward to getting some new shirts here this next month or so because it's gonna I'm gonna have some extra coin to spend. Maybe I should get married. Even that's okay. I don't want that, but you can do it. But in the meantime, one more time, give Chase a follow on Instagram. Definitely, always a pleasure to have him on here. Very excited to see what's ahead, and yeah, I'm very happy to see IMF and DBW. Everybody on the good foot. It was great to see Ace there. I said at the beginning of the show to see him wrestle Thomas McEntee. What a match. I think Ace being there really was a great experience for a lot of people. Just like in the vein of James Taylor going there was a lot of people who were like, James, he may not show up. He won't show up. And he did. And, D'Angelo went there. CJ Black went there again. It was great to see all those stars in the same room again, like LaFlame and Black and Christian. And I hope to see more of it. I know Colton Lee has talked about wanting to go there. I know you talked about going there in September. I've heard other guys from other places. So I hope that people go to as many places as they want. Kron, I know, is going back there. Well, because Steele basically like blurted it out or wants to blurt it out. But whatever it is, I hope everybody goes to IMF, DBW, and every company that's out there. Every company that's out there, go to them, and we'll certainly be talking about it and looking forward to it. Feel better, get some rest. I still see you're under the weather, so
Yep.
go get some sleep, and we will talk with you very soon.
All right, sounds good, man. Thank you for having me.
All right, that was Chase Wakefield, the soon-to-be not Bitcoin billionaire, based on the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitation, which will be the greatest wrestling super show in history when it's all said and done. That'll take place later this summer. And my name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters. And I'm going to go on here in about 50 or so minutes with some of the Sportswire Radio regulars. I'm going to talk about what happened on SmackDown, what's going on in the world of the NFL and some of the other sports for an hour. We'll hang out, and I don't know how my voice will hold up, but I'll probably just do it anyway because, well, it's fun to be on. And thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice, figuratively and literally, where all wrestling matters, all sports matters, all King's X matters. And please follow Chase on Instagram, DBW, and everybody else that's out here. And I'll see you in a little while. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station that is Sports by Radio, where all wrestling matters. See